All right, Nick, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Enjoying the back end of the summer down here.
Long
Uh,
time no
refl-
see.
yes, yeah. 20th of May last year was when I did the second interview. You know, the
That
Nick and Frangarola series.
that
So
long
that's
ago?
how long. Yep. So we're what, September? So a year and what, 3, 4 months, whatever. Oof! How time flies by when we're having fun in COVID times.
A lot of water has flown under the bridge, as they say.
Yes, it certainly has. A lot of things have changed, obviously. Um, some things haven't changed.
For
Uh,
example, tell us, enlighten us on what you have been doing for the last year.
oh well, there's actually a lot of things uh, going on. Just in things of what I see when I'm out and about um, is the continued paranoia of people,
Okay.
right? Which, and I use that word, and I'm trying to use it in a respectful manner. Um, the mask wearing in particular. Obviously, when we were given permission, quote, to stop wearing our masks at
Yeah.
our discretion, which
Yes.
I think it was the right. They did it in the right way, the government. We recommend you wear the masks, especially in indoor places,
Yeah.
but you're not obligated to as such per se.
Okay. So,
Um,
so let's put that into a context. That
yeah,
was back in what, June was it, or
yeah, I think so.
July,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
before the
um,
summer?
yeah, and really, I mean, if you think back to June, where were we on the sort of the vaccination count? I mean, we're at 70% now. So
Yeah, I think
my guess would be what, 40%
uh,
round about then, maybe.
around there, I would say.
Yeah,
I
I would
reckon we
say.
would have been at about 40. Yep.
Yeah. Now, um, okay, here's my thing. The best way I can sum this up is a little story from last week. Actually, I was in my local supermarket, and I'm doing my shopping, minding my own business, and I look across the way there, and there's quite an attractive lady walking around. She looks like similar age to me, I thought.
Okay.
Um, Obviously, I couldn't really make actual proper full eye contact or smile because I've got the mask on, as
Okay.
everybody else has in the supermarket, which I
That's
agree with,
what.
by the way.
That's
Let's
right.
make that clear. Indoors, the sign
Okay.
says
All right.
wear the mask. Okay,
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
So oh, okay, looks quite interesting. Let me finish my shopping and I'll go and wait outside and pretend to be busy, see if I can sneak a smile from her.
Try and
So
chat
I
her
did
up.
that. Yeah, I was outside. I was messing around with my bag. Out she comes. Um, she had a quick look and continued.
Okay.
Now, bearing in mind, I've taken my mask off. I'm out in the outdoors now,
Okay.
blazing heat. There's nobody else within 3, 4 meters of me.
Yeah.
Okay, and she goes waltzing by, keeps the mask on. Okay, what a shame. But I still had, you have this vision in your mind. You think, oh well, she was attractive anyway. Next thing I know, she's in her car with the mask still on. Now, at that point, I just thought, whatever illusion I might have had
Yeah.
about seeing an attractive woman
It's gone.
disintegrated.
All right.
What is she doing? Protecting herself from herself?
So you're calling this a type of paranoia.
Well, yeah, because I mean, a guy on the street, nobody around 20 meters away, and he's got his mask on. He's completely on his own. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
how else would you describe it? That's the best word I can think of.
Well, I
You're
think
not.
I think there's different reasons. So I'm not going to justify it
Mm,
because obviously, if I walk to the supermarket, there's no one around. I don't have a mask on, Nick.
yeah,
Obviously, I put it on when I go in, like everybody else,
exactly.
because that's what you're required to do by law, right?
Yeah.
So, but you do see people driving cars wearing masks still. You do see people walking down the street wearing their masks, and I've come to the conclusion that it's probably for a couple of reasons. One, maybe they've gone somewhere, they haven't been able to clean their hands, they don't want to touch their face. That could be one reason. Have no idea. The other reason is that some people, and I read about it a few months ago, there's a type of complex that some people have, and some people prefer wearing masks. I don't know if you read the same story, but that was in the paper a few months ago. And maybe she just hopped into the car not thinking about it. We've all become used to wearing masks.
Or
Got
maybe
a,
it's a new tactic.
Maybe.
It's a new tactic for women. Maybe that's it.
It could be.
They don't want to be chatted up by guys like me in the supermarket. I'll keep my mask on, make sure this guy doesn't have a go at me. Fair enough.
And the other thing is that maybe she got in the car, went around the corner and took it off there. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is that you weren't able to have a chat to her.
Yeah,
but
sad.
I mean, there is paranoia, Nick. I mean, let's be honest. I'm sure it's not only here in Spain. I'm sure it's everywhere. But the rules are a little bit complicated to this as well, because actually, when that mask rule went away, when that mandate went away, everybody thought, great, we can take our masks off. But the problem with a lot of Spanish cities, I don't know what Fuengirola is like, but here in Madrid, for example, it's almost impossible in some of the crowded parts of the city to avoid that 1.5 or 2 meter rule, So
yeah, but that's fine. I get that, and I think it's reasonably clear, Stuart. They do say, look, indoor places categorically mask on, which is fine, makes perfect sense, right? I mean, any airborne virus, if it's got nowhere to go because it's indoors, then there is that risk. Fine. Outdoor, I think it's reasonably straightforward. If you're in a crowded environment where you can't have that distance between yourself and other people, maybe in that situation it's a good idea to wear the mask. I mean, we've had some concerts here in Fuengirola late in the last few weeks. I think in a situation like that where people are jumping up and down and screaming and shouting and stuff, it's probably a good idea to have the mask on. Yes, but walking in the street on your own, no.
Well, that's it. But again, everybody's entitled to do whatever they want. I mean, at the end of the day, they can do whatever they want. It is strange, I must admit, but at the, as I said, people can do whatever they want. If they want to leave it on, they can leave it on. If they want to take it off, they can take it off. But
have you noticed something, though, with people who are wearing the mask all the time? You can actually see it now, because obviously, when did the whole mask thing start? I think it was something like September or October last year, if I'm not mistaken. That seems about right to me.
It could have been before, but it was around that date.
Yeah. Now, if you think about it, when you've got this mask on, if you're the type of person where you're wearing it almost all the time, okay. If you think about it, you're breathing out carbon dioxide and effectively breathing that same air back in, and it's starting. You can see it now in people's faces, because their faces, over a period of time, have actually been starved of direct oxygen. And it's showing.
Yeah, well, I didn't know whether it was that, or I didn't know whether it was that, or whether it's like a tan line. Because if you're out in the sun all day with the mask on, obviously you're gonna get a tan line, But
no, but that's fine, because you'd see the lines here, wouldn't you? That I can get, but anyway, it is what it is. Like you say, each to their own.
That's true. Now, on the subject of vaccination, you said 70%, 72 now, or something, is it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I can't remember if that's first shot or both.
Well, I think both shots is around 77 or 7. Both shots is around 72. One shot is around 77, 78 or something like that.
Okay. I got my first shot last week. Finally.
You got your first one last week. So we had a chat about this the other day. So it's not because you're against vaccinations or whatever, but you had a problem with your residency or something, was it?
Yeah,
your padron?
So there's a couple of things about this. So again, let's make it clear that if you remember and your viewers remember from last year, I travel a lot normally, in pre-COVID times for my work, and I need to start traveling again now. So independent of whether I'm pro-vaccine, against the vaccine, whatever, it doesn't matter. I need the vaccine in order to start traveling again for my work. Okay, so how to get the vaccine? Well, of course, I disagree with this slightly, but again, it is what it is. You just have to deal with it. I have private health insurance with Adeslas, one of the well-known private health providers,
like a lot of people in Spain.
Absolutely, I think it's even if you've got the public health, depending on the type of work you do and how your contracts are organized, etc., it can still be a good thing to have the private, because in theory you'll get seen quicker and have your problems resolved
that is
quicker.
It. That's it. Yeah.
Now, of course, the vaccine, however, is only available, as I discovered 4 months ago, through the public health system.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I've never been registered.
Okay.
So I had Go on.
I've had a couple of people leave comments on the video saying that they've been in the same situation as you, Nick, that they're in the private system, not in the public system, haven't been called up to get their vaccination. They've been waiting, haven't been called up. What do they do? So
right. Okay. So you've got, 3 or 4 steps to take. In order to get the vaccination, you've got to be on the public health system. To get on the public health system, you have to be on the padron. So each one follows the other. To get on the padron itself can be a nightmare. It took me 3 separate visits to the Ayuntamiento de Fuengirola to finally get on the padron. So, like many people, when I arrived here, I wanted to find somewhere to live, to rent. So typical sort of contract, sort of typed up by an agency, right, with a few basic details on it. Standard
Well, that's the typical contract. But I'm just going to say that you've been in Spain now for how long?
14 years.
14 years. All right. Yeah. So you've had that. You've been living in the same place for 14 years?
Correct.
Okay. And that contract there's just been renewing every X amount of time.
Well, yeah. I mean, we didn't physically renew it in terms of going in and re-signing it. But what happened was this. When I first went to the Ayuntamiento, bearing in mind, again, COVID times, excuse for everything, it takes ages to get an appointment, right? It's like you go online and it's like you get an appointment for anything between 4 and 6 weeks into the future. Okay? So bearing in mind now, I've arrived at the Ayuntamiento with this contract. This is an original version of this, by the way, back in May, whenever the hell it was, together with my passport and of course, the classic residency certificate that especially us Brits have to prove who I am. So the first thing the guy says to me in the Ayuntamiento is, well, the actual owner's name is not on the contract. So pitfall number 1 for everybody to watch out for. If you're going to rent a place from an inmobiliaria, which is par for the course, an estate agent, as I discovered at that moment, you have to make sure that the owner's details, including their NIF number, are actually on the contract. So even though your contract is between yourself and the estate agency, it has to have the details of the owner. Okay.
So the bloke that owns the flat's Spanish bloke.
Yes, he's an old guy who lives in Cordoba. Okay,
so he doesn't live in Malaga, right? Okay.
No, he's miles away. It's not a case of you can just pop round and see him and get his signature on things. So the guy in the Ayuntamiento, he sent me away. He says, come back with an updated contract. And that's all he said. I have to wait now another month and a half, right? Yeah. So I go and see the estate agent, and sure enough, we revamped the contract. It's got the details of the owner on it, okay? So I off on my clogs to the Ayuntamiento for the second appointment. And the guy looks at it and he says, right, well, there's no authorization with this. Excuse me, what? There needs to be an authorization. And he promptly whips out this piece of paper. So let your people, the viewers, see it. This is an authorization document where the owner is authorizing the person to live in his dwelling. Right?
So another document that you didn't have.
Exactly. Now, fine. Okay, this is what it is. I get it. Why didn't the first guy tell me? So it's
it was a different bloke the second time you went there.
Okay. Yeah. This is the second person. Look, I'm not. You and I, we love our lives here. I'm not in the business of Spain bashing. No. However, 2 different guys give me 2 different stories. It's just madness.
Well, you're lucky there wasn't a third person there.
I know. Well, I ended up going there finally. So bearing in mind, 3 appointments, 4 months effectively. It was a week last Friday that I arrived in the Ayuntamiento. I just stared at this guy when I gave him everything. And internally, I'm like this, please give me the damn padron.
So again, according to your age, probably this would have taken place in normal circumstances around June, July, right? So because you had to go through all of the paperwork, the padron, get all of this thing done, it wasn't until last week or the week before that you managed to get it done. And as you said before, fundamental for your line of work, which is basically hopping on planes every second week and heading to places around the world. Yeah.
By the way, I've complained about the Ayuntamiento de Fuengirola. I have to say, in defense,
complained?
No, I said I've been sitting here complaining.
Oh,
Right?
okay. You
As
haven't put
in
in an
bitching and moaning.
you haven't put in an official complaint.
No. The health system, I couldn't find where to book an appointment online to do the registration. So I
Okay.
thought I'll chance my arm here. So I got this on the Friday, the padron. The following Monday, I just went straight to the health centre
The local
with
one?
the certificate. Yeah, the Los Beliches one. And they saw me immediately. And they did the registration immediately. And then the lady says, Mr. Winter, would you like the vaccination this afternoon? I said, oh, yes, please. Right. And sure enough, 3:00 that afternoon, I got my first vaccine. And it was the Moderna one, by the way, which I was a bit happier about rather than AstraZeneca.
Well, there you go. You've got two tales of you've got two tales of Spanish bureaucracy there, Nick. You've got the local town hall, which is a bit inefficient, and then you've got the hospital system, which did things very, very well.
The other thing that also now has happened, actually, the exercise finished off today. I know a lot of your viewers are Brits who have come out to live here, especially before Brexit, kicked in.
Well, pretty tough to do it now.
Yes, you can't. Well, basically, you can't do it now, as far as I'm aware, unless it's exceptional circumstances, and it might be for particular. You might have a particular skill set or whatever. So we all have this, of course, the classic A4 residency certificate. Okay, so today I've just collected it this afternoon.
Okay,
1:30. This is the new card. So
we'll
I'll
just
hold
cover
it up
your address there. So it's a bit...
No, well, my NI is covered. That's the main thing.
All right.
So just to let your viewers know, the idea is this: when you're flying in and out of Spain, okay, in theory, you would have to present both of these to passport control.
Yeah.
If you don't, your passport is going to get stamped, because we are now not a part of Europe. Therefore, we are subject to the usual rules and regulations regarding duration of stays, length of stays here within the European Union. In other words, 90 days in one stretch, 180 days per year.
Okay,
right?
Well, I think even if you have the residency permission, you get your passport stamped anyway, because I'm only speaking from experience here, that when you have to renew it, and I suppose you have to renew it every 5 years now, is it, Nick, or it's permanent?
No, it's permanent.
Okay, so new people coming, even if they're British, you have to, I'm going to say this off the top of my head because I'm not 100% sure, but for residents like myself from outside the European Union, the situation in which the UK now finds itself, they do stamp your passport every time they come in, because they use that as a record that you're not allowed to leave the country for a certain amount of time during that 5 years. I don't know if I'm...
Okay, I think things might be different for the Brits, because, again, when you look at the card, so just let me hide this again, you can see what's very important here is it specifically says Article 50. This card is specific for the agreement made once the Brexit actually kicked in. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So it is slightly different for the Brits.
Okay. So you've taken up the agreement that was done between the European Union and the United Kingdom.
Correct.
That people that were living here prior to the 1st of January 2021 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You sort of you've got a different circumstance, right?
Correct. Yeah. Now, it does actually say on here that it is permanent residence. Okay. The card itself has an expiry. But I think that's probably just like the usual thing. It's just the card itself.
So
but
what does
it's
it say?
2031.
2030.
So in other words,
it's 10
it's
years?
10 years from now. Okay.
So in 10 years, you're going to have to get a new card. Okay.
Yeah.
So mine's every 5 years.
Right.
So
now, as I say, in theory, and I've booked my first trip now to the UK to go to the office. So I'll maybe we can have a chat, later on in December or something, and I'll confirm exactly how it works. Because in theory, show these to a passport control, and I shouldn't get a stamp. That's the theory. That's the way I've read the rules, if you like, the process. So I'm keen to find out.
This is what I'm saying. So maybe because of that Article 50, as you said, it's slightly different for you guys.
Yes, that's my understanding, but we'll find out.
All right, good.
So now, that's all that's sorted.
Well, everything's sorted. That's it. And what was that process like to get the card? Easier than the council?
Well, like it's just time.
Time.
Just the usual thing. It just, you got to book. You have to book 2 appointments for this. The first appointment, which again, it's a nightmare to actually get the appointment timing wise. I think I was there. When was I there? It was the beginning of August, so it wasn't too bad. First appointment is you go with your documents. Okay, they're sitting there writing War and Peace on their computer systems while they check everything. And the second appointment is to physically collect the card, which is what I did today. Usual thing, obviously, you've got to have your green certificate with you, your residency, your passport, and they are asking now for the padron as well. They want to know that actually your certificate is still got the same. In fact, let me rephrase that. Let me get this straight for your viewers. If your address is still the same as it was on the original certificate, you don't need the padron.
Okay.
However, if you've changed since you got the original certificate, then you have to have the certificate of the padron, which is like a justification of now where you're living, together with your passport. Okay? That's the lady in the police station. She told me that's exactly how it's done. So.
Well, that's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, but probably better to get everything above board.
Yes. Especially now, I mean, from my own personal perspective, I'm in the middle now of house hunting. I actually viewed a place yesterday in the famous Mijas Golf area, and I fell in love with it. Wonderful views. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It's a great price. I'm going for the second viewing tomorrow, and I'll speak to the owner then, and let's see if we can cut a deal.
Do you like to hit the fairways every now and again?
I did when I was young.
Okay.
I loved playing golf when I was young. I've probably not actually hit a golf ball in 15 years. But if I'm going to be living at Mijas Golf, why not? It's right there. I'll certainly have a good laugh sometimes in the morning, having my morning cup of coffee, because literally I can see them. One of the fairways, I can see them playing their shots. So
good.
If any residents in Mijas Golf hear some extreme laughter, I apologize in advance.
Coming from you. So what's the real estate situation like down there? Is there plenty of things on offer?
Yes, there are. Not necessarily good places on offer. Obviously, if you've got money, yes, I have a budget. I mean, okay. So when I started looking, my budget was sort of between 140 to 175. That's my price bracket. And I'm not after anything special. 2-bed, 2-bath. Okay? With parking. Okay? It's very important to have parking here.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, there are loads of things below that range where you're talking reforms, renovation projects. Okay? There's loads of those. Loads of 1-bedroom places. And obviously, there's plenty in much higher price brackets. What I have noticed is a few things. It's very hard to find something decent in a place like Fuengirola. I imagine it's these town centres, they're all the same, aren't they? I mean, I've been in Madrid numerous times. You're talking big apartment blocks facing each other. Yep. You don't exactly get much of a view unless you're willing to part with a lot of cash, to go near the big parks or whatever. So I quickly discounted Fuengirola. There's just nothing in my price bracket of any worth. Now, a piece of advice I'd give to your viewers again is this. From what I've seen, the best website, and this is a website that pretty much all of the estate agencies use, is a website called idealista.com. Okay?
.com or .es?
No, it's .com.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely .com. Actually, let me just quickly.
No, you could be right, because it is a Spanish portal.
No,
right?
it's a very good question, and just want to make sure I'm not talking rubbish. Idealista.com. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's available in Spanish and English. Okay. It's got a great search engine, so you can specify. You want 2 beds, 2 baths, parking. Do you want upper floor, penthouse, ground floor, whatever? There's all kinds of search options. The main thing is this. All of the agents put their properties on there. So it's actually quite often you'll see the same property on 2 or 3 occasions.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how it works in the UK because I've never bought a place in the UK. I don't have any reference point, but I believe it's different down here. Agencies down here, they collaborate together. It's a standard practice. So in other words, what I soon realized was instead of contacting these, so if I would see a place on Idealist and think, oh, that looks good, let me contact them. But I realized within 2 or 3 weeks that actually I was wasting my time. What I mean by that is instead of contacting one agency after another, find an agency, check out, start working with them, get the feeling that they're willing to do all the donkey work for you, the legwork, okay, and stick to that agency. Because when you see places, they will contact the other agency. Because the way it works is they split the commissions. It's a standard way. I don't know if that's applicable across all of Spain, but it's certainly the way things operate down here in Andalusia. Okay? They split the commissions. Therefore, your agent will contact all the other agents relative to the properties you're interested in, and you can just sit back and let them do all the legwork. That's fine. I loved it. So, hence I found this place, which I'm about to make an offer on. So
it's a relatively new place. Walk in, or everything's to your liking?
It's a lady has been living there for 17 years. She's made it absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, she's lost her sight in one eye, and she's having problems now with the other eye. And unfortunately, she's having to give up her life here and go back to the UK.
Oh, no, it was an English
heartbreaking,
lady, is it?
Heartbreaking for her. But it is what it is. 2 or 3 months' time, she's going to go back. Her son's going to come out from the UK and help her to do everything. But yeah, I've seen a mixture of expat-owned homes and Spanish-owned homes. Any
difference?
Yeah. I was up in Mijas Pueblo. I don't know if you know, Mijas Pueblo is the village of Mijas that's high up in the mountains, away from Fuengirola. So I went to see this place the other day, and on paper at least, I thought this was going to be great. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's effectively almost on a cliff sort of style enclave, if you like. So the view was spectacular. But inside, it was an absolute mess and disgustingly filthy, right? There's a guy that lives there at the moment. He's been renting it for 7 years. And now bearing in mind, I'm with a representative of the agency that I'm with, who's a very nice lady. She's sort of in her mid-30s and all that, and very clean-cut lady, very professional. And this guy turns around and says, "Yeah, I'm sorry about the state of this place. I don't have a woman in my life. I live alone, and therefore I don't have anybody to clean it." Oh my God! in what century does this guy live in?
Was he a Spanish bloke or an English bloke?
Yeah, Spanish. Yeah,
Spanish bloke.
Yeah. He's a musician and plays the saxophone, various groups and stuff. And it was kind of my age actually. And he doesn't have a woman in his life. So
I'm sure some people will say that there's a logical reason for that, Nick, with that attitude.
Well, the fact he doesn't have a woman. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But anyway. So that's it. So you had a look at different places and a bit of a difference between the two, yeah?
Yeah, there's all kinds of different places. What's interesting is to try to make the decisions about the type of place you want. So, for example, in choosing this Mijas golf place, and the fact that it's down the bottom of the Mijas golf area, near to the main road, is known as the Camino de Coin.
Okay.
So I'm away from the madness of Fuengirola, the noise and the lights and everything that goes with it.
Yeah.
But I'm close enough to get into Fuengirola within 10 minutes. Perfect. Okay.
So for you, it's a win-win.
Yes. Yeah. There's no downside, to be honest with you. It's taken me. I've viewed, I think, 17 or 18 places now, and this is the winner. And there's no downside at all with it. It's just perfect. Beautiful inside, great views, close to the main road to get to Fuengirola, and I can still be involved with the theatre as a result, which I'm going to be again next year. So all in all, this worked out great.
So what do you
Just
do next? Put down a deposit?
Yeah, so I'm going to be there tomorrow morning. The owner obviously will be there again. So my objective is to come out of there deal or no deal.
Oh,
So
okay.
if we agree on a price and a timing, bearing in mind I respect her situation and we'll try and figure it out because she's got to sort of up sticks back to the UK, then the idea would be that initially I quickly reserve it with a 1% deposit. Okay, and that effectively is just, if you like, this is the offer and I've signed it. This is the offer I've made, and then she will sign it to indicate she's received the offer.
Okay.
Offer's accepted. Then we move on to step 2, which I believe would be I'd have to part with another 9%. Mm-hmm. Okay, that now becomes the private contract between the two parties. Okay, that contract then is what I will take together with a document apparently called the nota simple. And the nota simple is, if you like, it's like the passport of the property. Okay, it's got all the details of it and who the existing owners are. So I go along with the private contract, the nota simple, go with those to my bank, and then we can actually start the processing of the mortgage to get it sorted. And then the final 90% would become payable upon completion of everything, which obviously includes the notary, the gestoria, all the usual legal stuff, and the taxes and fees having been paid. That's my understanding, but I stand to be corrected. It is the first time I'm buying a property. So
it's going to be a new experience for you, and I'm sure we will hear about it. Now, we'll start to wrap this one up, Nick, but the plan is to get something more regular with you on a weekly basis. Is that more of a news type thing? Go through, review some of the stories of the week. Would you be up for that?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe in the next call as well, I would like to just help out the autonomos down here as well and give them some advice about taxes, accountants, etc.
You should set up your own gestoria.
No. The whole point, Stuart, as I don't know if it's bad luck or naivety on my part, but at the end of the day, I was paying an accountant in trusting them, believing in them, trusting that I was getting the correct advice and that they were doing their job, and they didn't. Okay, and I want to explain the whole business of the. I mean, I've actually overpaid tax. I've worked out by in the region of 4,000 to 5,000 euros over the past 3 years.
Okay, yeah, and you had some problems with the
hacienda. Yeah, I'll go through all of that. What to avoid. Don't make the mistakes I've made. It's fun and games. Yeah,
useful information. All right, so
I'd like to help because people need to be aware, especially if they're going into, one of your previous videos. You've talked about the digital nomads, which is what I am.
That's another topic. That's exactly right.
Where I'm in IT and I'm working for an international company and doing it as autonomo, and there are specific pitfalls. Unlike what you've got, where of course you're invoicing your clients, etc., on a regular basis, your tax is already sorted out at the time you're invoicing. It's different for people like me, the digital nomads, where you're having to go through the normal trimestre situation and pay your taxes separately. We can talk about all that in the next chat.
All right, we will. So we'll organise that. So good speaking to you again.
Yeah,
good to see that you're looking well, I must say.
Thank you. Yeah, you're looking well yourself. I love your technology seems to have gone up another level. Yeah, you're sitting there looking as if you're in a music studio or something. It's quite sophisticated.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it looked like last year, but I've got a new microphone windshield, as they call it here, to get that big round thing out of the way that I had before. So I'm investing in the technology, Nick, which is what you need to do.
Yeah, you'd be warned. You're going to be a digital nomad yourself soon.
Well, that's it. I'll be able to move around the country, maybe go to one of those pueblos that they're offering where they've got a good 4G connection and there's tax incentives to live there. So I'm going to look into that. That could be an option.
Cool. Yeah.
But anyway, we'll wrap it up, Nick, because I've got to move on. But we'll be in contact and we'll get another video up and out shortly.
Cool. All right, then.
All right, have
good
a good
to
one.
talk to you again.
See you later.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.